Good morning, Central Baptist Church family. It's Sunday, and several of you I know are going to be able to be in church today. I'm excited. I know some won't be able to make it. Totally understand that, and I do look forward to the day when we're all reunited here together, when things are back to normal. But just excited that things are progressing in a positive way instead of just more bad news. So this is really exciting today. We're in Proverbs chapter 30. We're almost done. Proverbs chapter 30 and chapter 31 kind of take on a little bit different tone. It feels like it's a different writing style, but it's still wisdom literature and still packed with great truth. And Proverbs chapter 30 is interesting in that it gives us a bunch of lists. And the one list I want to look at this morning is in verse 11. Verse 11 says this: "There's a generation that curseth their father and doth not bless their mother. There's a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet is not washed from their filthiness. There's a generation, oh how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. There's a generation whose teeth are as swords, and their jaw teeth as knives, to devour the poor from off the earth, and the needy from among men." It's talking about a generation or a group of people who are struggling. They have four issues that they're really struggling with. The first is a disrespect for parental authority, and really probably all authority for that matter. The second is that they're self-righteous. It says that they are pure in their own eyes, yet not washed from their filthiness. They think they're good enough spiritually, but they're not even close. Then there's a generation, thirdly, that are very arrogant. Their eyes are lifted up. They think they're better than everybody else. And lastly, there's an arrogant that doesn't care about other people, especially poor people. They're selfish. They're selfish. I think if we're just honest with ourselves for a moment, that's something that we as Americans struggle with greatly. All four of those things. Americans struggle with disrespect for authority. Americans struggle with self-righteousness because we're a Christian nation. We think we're better than everybody else. Americans struggle with pride because, well, we really do think we're better than ourselves, not only spiritually, but just in every way. And then lastly, we're very selfish people. We say we're philanthropic. We say we want to take care of the poor and take care of the needy, but we're just, at the end of the day, we're selfish people. That's just how we are as Americans. We struggle with it. Let's be honest with ourselves. And the reason that this list is recorded here is not for encouragement. It's basically saying there's a generation, and it's an evil and wicked generation. Don't be that generation. Don't fall for that. Don't let that define you as a people. Now, I know I'm technically a millennial, and if you want to talk about a generation that gets attacked and gets dumped on, it's the millennials. But I have a lot of friends who get really defensive about it, but I recognize that just because I'm in that age group doesn't mean I have to be defined as such. I don't have to be what everyone hates about a millennial. Which now it's the millennials, it's over now. I think it's like Gen Z or something. They're the ones that you need to start blaming everything on. They're the ones younger than us. Millennials are actually really old and have kids now, like myself, losing their hair. And so, yeah, we're very old people now. So you can stop picking on us now. Anyways, but what you got to understand is you don't have to be defined by who's around you. But if you're going to be influenced by your generation and by your peers, teenagers especially, if you're going to allow your high school to define you, if you're going to allow your age group to define you, and you're just going to fall into the trap of, hey, this is what everybody else does, then yeah, you are going to be part of that wicked generation who struggles with authority, who thinks they're better than they are spiritually, who thinks they're better than they are in every way, who's prideful and arrogant, and who's very selfish and self-centered. But you don't want to be that generation. So what kind of generation do you want to be? What do you want to be defined by? We'll look back at verse 5. Let's stay in the same chapter. It says, "Every word of God is pure. He is a shield unto them that put their trust in him." What kind of generation do you want to be? What do you want to be defined by? I want to be defined by somebody who puts their trust in God and his word. Because if I put my trust in God and his word, he's my shield. He's my protector. He's my guide. He's going to make my life what it ought to be. And I don't have to be defined by a wicked and evil generation. I don't have to be defined by my fallen, wicked friends. I don't have to be defined by failure. I'm defined by God and what he's intended me to be. And that's an awesome thing. So I just want to encourage you on this Sunday morning to be defined by God by trusting in him and allowing him to be your shield.